Hello and welcome to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. I am Juliet, the daughter.
That must make me Kevin the daughter. I mean, the dad. I'm the dad.
Yes, you are. And happy Halloween, everybody! And we thought we'd do something scary, spooky, existential dread, fascist government. Because today we're talking about the punk band, the Dead Kennedys. And that also has to do with Halloween because, they're dead. Anyway, Dad, what do we need to know?
Okay, we need to know that Eric Reed Boucher was born June 17, 1958 in Boulder, Colorado. As a child, he became interested in international politics and became a rock music fan when his parents accidentally tuned into a rock radio station. In high school, he ignored his guidance counselor's advice to become a dental hygienist. I suppose if he went to the new East Providence High School, he would have become one.
Yeah, because the new East Providence High School offers a dentistry program where you can get credits towards a major in college. 3 years worth of credits, apparently, which is impressive.
Anyway, in 1977, Eric started out as a roadie for the punk rock band The Ravers. He soon joined his friend John Greenway in a band called The Healers, who became locally known for improvised lyrics and avant-garde music. Also in 77, he began attending UC Santa Cruz. In 1978, Boucher answered an ad in the San Francisco weekly paper, The Recycler, placed by guitarist Raymond Pepperell, also known as East Bay Ray. Other respondents were bassist Jeffrey Lyle, also known as Klaus Fluoride, rhythm guitarist Carlos Cardona, also known as 6025, and drummer Bruce Schlesinger, also known as Ted. As for Boucher, he started performing under the name Occupant, but changed it to the unforgettable Jello Biafra. Biafra first tried composing music on guitar, but had no experience playing it. Klaus told him just to sing the parts he envisioned for the band, so Jello would sing the riffs and melodies into a tape recorder and bring it to rehearsals or recording sessions. The band's first show was on July 19, 1978 at San Francisco's Mabuhay Gardens. They also played there on November 22nd, 1978, the 15th anniversary of JFK's assassination. There were protests, but the club owner said he couldn't cancel because there was a contract.
Yep.
The Dead Kennedys' name also led them to sometimes perform under aliases such as the DKs, the Sharks, the Creamsicles, and the Pink Twinkies. To quote East Bay Ray, their name was not meant to insult the Kennedy family.
Oh, sure.
But the assassinations were in much more poor taste than our band name. We actually respect the Kennedy name, family. When JFK was assassinated, when Martin Luther King was assassinated, when RFK was assassinated, the American Dream was assassinated. Our name is actually a homage to the American Dream. Insert eye roll here or nodding in agreement here.
Whichever you prefer.
The band's first single, California Uber Alles, was recorded and released in June 1979. Their second single, Holiday in Cambodia, came out in May 1980.
Oh, it didn't come out on Christmas? That would have been hilarious.
No. And their first album, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables, was released on September 2nd, 1980 through Cherry Red Records in the UK. Yep, only available as an import. Since then, it's been re-released on IRS, Biafra's Alternative Tentacles Records, Cleopatra, the version I have from 2002, and a 25th anniversary edition co-released by Cherry Red and Manifesto Records.
You gonna spring for it?
No.
Oh.
It's gone on to be recognized as a hardcore punk classic and, I quote, the only legitimate companion piece to the Sex Pistols' Nevermind the Bollocks album. It also brought the band its first lawsuit. The back cover photo was of an old lounge band called Sounds of Sunshine that Klaus Fluoride bought at a garage sale. The band's logo was pasted on the bass drum and skull and crossbones was spliced onto the instruments. However, former Sounds of Sunshine vocalist Warner Wilder found out about it and threatened to sue. The band reprinted the back cover with the heads cut off, but this was still unsatisfactory to Warner. He received $3,000. And that's the photo that I have on the back of my edition.
Yeah.
As for the front cover, it's a photo of police cars set on fire during the White riots of May 1979, resulting from the light sentence given to Dan White for the murders of George Moscone and Harvey Milk. Jell-O would run for mayor of San Francisco in 1979. He came in third.
Good for him.
And one of his planks on his platform was to have statues of Dan White built and placed around various parts of San Francisco, next to which would be eggs and rotting vegetables that you could buy and pelt at the statues. Yep. In 1981, Ted left to pursue a career in architecture. Darren Henley, also known as D.H. Peligro, came on board. The band then released an EP in God We Trust Incorporated, and then the album Plastic Surgery Disasters, after which they took time off from recording to run Alternative Tentacles. They still played live. In 1985, they released Frankenchrist, which featured horns and synthesizers.
Cool.
But no one really noticed that due to an insert in the album, H.R. Geiger's Penis Landscape. You can Google that if you need to see what it looks like. Or not.
Okay. Keep talking.
H.R. Geiger also designed the creature monsters for the movie Alien.
Oh, cool.
Anyway, that caused a furor with the PMRC, the Parents Music Resource Center.
Oh, I see it. Okay.
In December 1985, a 16-year-old girl bought the album, and her mom wrote to the California Attorney General and Los Angeles prosecutors. In 1986, the band and the album distributors were charged with distribution of harmful matter to minors. A conviction would lead to a year in county jail and a $2,000 fine. However, the trial ended in 1987 with a hung jury, no pun intended.
I'm looking at it now and I'm like, it's just anatomy. And also, parents, maybe you should pay attention more as to what your kids are buying. What does that say about your parenting?
Well, they probably didn't know it was in there.
Gotcha.
Anyway, while that was going on, the group became disillusioned with the hardcore scene, which they felt was being taken over by neo-Nazi skinheads and macho hardcore bands.
That's fair.
In January of 1986, they decided to break up, but they came out with one final album, Bedtime for Democracy.
I get it.
Jello went on to record spoken word albums and collaborated with various bands. Oh, and be involved in various lawsuits with former band members, mostly to do with royalty payments.
Oh.
In May of 2000, Jello was found liable and ordered to pay $200,000. There was an accounting error that he was aware of, but he didn't tell the other band members, and if he had,
It would have saved
him.
everything.
Yeah.
Okay.
The decision was unsuccessfully appealed. Furthermore, Jello lost the rights to most of the DK's catalog, except for the first album. He also lost rights to the band name. The other Dead Kennedys reunited with a new vocalist.
Oof.
The Dead Kennedys have been eligible for induction to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame since 2003. As for me,
Yeah, that's for you.
Mike got the album when it came out, and I just did not know what to make of it at the time. Uncle Michael had Plastic Surgery Disasters, but I never listened to it when he first got it. But I did borrow it from the library later. I think I eventually saw Fresh Fruit at a library and borrowed it. And I thought it was catchy songs about horrible things. And I ended up getting the 2002 CD reissue. The big drawback is it has a CD-sized reproduction of the collage made by Jello that was inserted in the original vinyl release.
Right.
As such, you need a magnifying glass to read the lyrics.
Oh, okay.
And thankfully, we have azlyrics.com.
And genius.com too.
And you can go on there and,
Google.
not have to strain. So let's dive into this, shall we?
All right. With the first song, Kill the Poor. Wonder what Jonathan Swift would have made of this if he was alive, considering his satirical solution to poverty was eating babies. I believe that this is what all far-right quote-unquote conservatives, or as Mitch likes to call them, Vichy conservatives, in American government really want but can't say out loud, otherwise they know they'll be seen as crazy. So what do they do instead? Well, gut welfare, keep health insurance privatized, fail to do anything about global warming, make the death penalty harsher, and pass anti-abortion laws while anyone who's rich can go to another country. But this song rips away the mask of polite society and we hear their thoughts unfiltered. And in their mind, it's perfect. Hey, unemployment is gone, welfare tax is gone, and slums are gone, because heaven forbid they work to pass legislation that benefits everyone and puts less dollars in their pocket. What I think is interesting is the line, Jane Fonda's on the screen today, convinced the liberals it's okay, which tells me a lot. First, the Dead Kennedys aren't fond of rich white liberals. Think the, I would have voted for Obama for a third term if I could parents and get out. Because for them, liberalism isn't the answer. The answer's farther left than that. Second, they know that if Hollywood starts embracing this idea, so will the masses. Third, it says a lot about what they think about Jane Fonda's activism. Now, what my generation knows her for is working with the Black Panthers, being openly pro-gay rights in the 70s, and most recently her work on climate change. Most people from older generations know her for her support of Northern Vietnam, something she regrets deeply today.
And her exercise videos.
As for the song itself, I'm still not used to how punk singers' voices are not pretty, which is fitting for the genre, but as someone who's taking singing lessons, it's still disarming at first.
Well, because it's a DIY.
Yeah, DIY, do it yourself.
Yeah.
And the chorus is catchy, but you'd have to be careful singing it out of context, because without any, a person would be walking along and would look at you singing, kill, 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 kill the poor, and think, what the hell's wrong with you? You're a horrible person. So, yeah, maybe if you're singing this in your car, sing it with the windows rolled up.
Well, the thing that surprised me is how the music starts off slowly with the first verse. It's not what I expected. Jello sings the praises of the neutron bomb. It's nice, quick, clean, and it gets things done.
What's it, a Mr. Clean Magic Eraser?
Yeah, that's what people think it is, but experts say no, it's not really like that, because it was touted as gets rid of the people, leaves the buildings intact. Mm-hmm. Away with excess enemy, but no less value the property, as Jello sings in the song. Then comes the second verse, and things kick into high gear. The rich elite can use the bomb to kill the poor. No more welfare tax, no more slums, more room to drink champagne and play. And like you said, as long as Jane Fonda convinces the liberals it's okay, they don't need to feel guilty about it. And then we have God Help Me, one of the most catchy sing-along choruses ever. If you don't catch yourself singing, kill the poor, you are a much stronger and better person than I will ever be.
That goes for me too.
And on top of all that, these guys can play.
Oh, yes, they can.
Every single song, you listen to it, and these guys have got their act together. Mm-hmm. And as for Jello singing, it ain't cute. And it's not meant to be.
But it gets the job done.
It does. It's perfect. It's perfect for these songs.
Next track, Forward to Death. Dad?
Jules?
The lyrics of this song voice exactly what I feel in my 20s. Except for the looking forward to death part.
Oh, okay, because you dropped a hint the other day and I thought, oh my God, I better keep an eye on her.
Yeah, here's why. My generation lives in a post-9/11 world with 2 wars on terror, one of which was bullshit, and we've never known our country to be economically prosperous living through 2 recessions. We've also never known what a fully functioning government looks like due to gridlock and shutdowns. On top of that, we quickly learned that the planet is dying due to an unhealthy environment that will get worse for years to come, and that the chances of a stable future are slim to none. The chances of working our dream job are also slim to none due to the fact that the wealthiest only get to work where they want, and most of us will end up in dead-end jobs that exploit workers to their limit, contributing to our mental health problems and physical deterioration. We quickly learn that we can't grow up to be anything we want, and not all dreams come true, and it's a tragedy. There's a reason that there's a suicidal remix of Every Day by Buddy Holly trending on TikTok, the one I sent to you. Every day I'm a little closer to sticking a goddamn fork in my toaster. It's because most of us are tired and done and close to snapping every day, me included. The only reason I can't die, though, is because the people who love me would be sad. And I don't want to make them sad.
Don't make me sad.
No, so I trudge on and try to cheat the system that's slowly killing us inside. This song manages to capture all of that in under 2 minutes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, clocks in at less than a minute and a half. Mm-hmm. And yeah, Jello just hates what's going on in the world. Hates it. Mm-hmm. But he's going to wait it out. He's just going to try and tough it out, keep on going. But to me, there's actually a funny line in here. The Beaver Cleaver complaint, it really gets me sore. Mm-hmm. I think, that's just a little too cute for this song.
Yeah, it is. Next track, When You Get Drafted. I wish this song played in my global politics class when we studied the military-industrial complex in the United States. For those who don't know, it's when the U.S. military has partnerships with private companies that make weapons and technology, so they have a vested interest in going to war. It also highlights something we see in the U.S., which is military recruiters on college campuses, offering the incentive of free tuition thanks to the GI Bill if you join. Every time I saw those recruiters, I got so mad because they prey on individuals with low income and always say things like, oh, you'll probably end up at one of our bases in Germany, and then they wind up in the desert in the Middle East.
And I look around and go, I did not know Germany had a desert.
If you want to hear discourse from veterans about how the system mistreats them, I highly recommend Patrick Lawler on TikTok, who is a paramedic in Afghanistan and is very open about their PTSD returning to the United States. Republicans don't like Patrick because they're not the political prop they want them to be. He also pisses off liberals by discussing nuance. Oh, by the way, if you're hearing me critiquing both sides and assuming I'm a centrist, you are very mistaken. As for the song, what really makes me think is that we haven't had a draft in this country since Vietnam, or we haven't had the need for a draft since Vietnam, right? Our military, for the past few decades, has been voluntary, and because of that, our recruits are treated like garbage. And the timing of the song is very interesting since it was written in 1980. The major global conflict at the time was between Iraq and Iran. As for U.S. involvement, we weren't officially involved in foreign conflicts until Grenada in 1983, but we were messing with Afghanistan around this time too, and if you dig hard enough, there's definitely a lot more. So what the dead Kennedys are saying is every time our country goes to war, really think about why.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's another short one, and Jill says, war's coming back in style, the Russians are everywhere, big business will make out all right, while kids in slums are the ones who'll get drafted. Now, this song came out,
I said 1980.
In 1980. And I think it may have been in response to Carter reinstating selective service registration in July of 1980.
Okay.
And that was like, as soon as you turned 18, all males had to go to the post office and sign up for what possibly could be a draft. If things got hairy, they would just start going through the names. And I remember going to the post office like, I really don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this, but I did it anyway. And I thought, I hope I don't get called. I hope I don't get called. I never got called.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like, okay, we got some extra cannon fodder put aside just in case.
Yeah.
But to me, this song also predicts the coming of Reagan, who would win in November.
Yep.
And who kind of got his little war there with
Are you thinking about the Iran-Contra affair? No, we financed.
Non-Contra affair, and then what the heck was the other one?
We got involved in Grenada.
That's the one we got involved in.
Yep. And then we got involved in Panama a few years later.
Yep.
And Venezuela, I don't remember what year we got involved with Venezuela, but it was probably around that time too.
So it was always like a close but no cigar, but just good enough.
Yeah, it reminds me of my favorite meme where it's like, oh, socialist countries on our side of the hemisphere are doomed to fail. Okay, why not let them fail then? If they are doomed to fail, then why are you going in there and hastening it if it's just going to fall anyway? Oh, I see. You want to install some capitalist puppets who are going to be beholden to us. I get it now. Okay. All right, next track. Let's lynch the landlord. Disclaimer, we do not advocate for lynching of anybody. Okay. We need to distinguish here between personal property and private property. Okay, let's go. So, in Marxist theory, private property is basically any property that is used to make a profit. Profit being excess money that is above and beyond operating costs. This refers to capital. Okay, so personal property is non-capital. It doesn't make a profit and is owned by the consumer. For example, a car magnate's personal property would be things he owns, like clothes and his own car, because he's using them directly, the items don't make a profit, and they bought these items. However, the magnate's firm is private property. They don't make the cars, laborers do. The magnate doesn't design them, engineers do that. The magnate is only indirectly connected to making the cars through private property structure because it makes an excess profit. The magnate doesn't need to do much, just needs to sit and wait for the money to pile up. And this is why people don't like landlords, because they're pocketing money other people earn. I remember when Mom explained the concept of rent to me, and I got mad because I asked, so they give us their money? Yeah. Well, what do we do with the money? We keep it. We keep it, but it's their money. That's not fair. I told Aaron this story, and he said, ah, yes, you even knew back then. This landlord, though, reminds me of Monsieur Thénardier, the innkeeper in Les Mis, which is ironic considering the Seinfeld episode we saw the other day, who finds his way to charge people extra. Example, charge them for the lice, extra for the mice, 2% for looking in the mirror twice. And everyone has had a bad landlord at least once in their life. I know a story about a guy whose landlord hired someone who wasn't a plumber to come fix a leak in the apartment, and the bozo ended up flooding the place. Yes, this is a real person I know. I'm not going to out who it is on the internet. Luckily, they moved out of there. So, sorry, Mom and Dad, but I get why people are angry and would want to write a song about this.
Okay.
Yeah.
This breaks the 2-minute barrier, but not the 2.5-minute one.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking as a landlord, Yeah, I'd be with these tenants. No water, no heat, rats, roaches, doubling the rent.
Yeah, get the
Only
hell
one,
out.
only one thing to do. And again, another terrific sing-along chorus.
Mm-hmm.
And God help me, I catch myself singing along to it.
Yeah.
I like to think I'm a fair landlord.
Yeah, you
We have
you're
one
pretty
apartment,
fair. Yeah.
one tenant.
If they had any complaints, they would have moved out by now.
This is true.
Hi, Megan and Blake.
So yeah, another great sing-along chorus and what I would call a clean guitar solo, like you can hear every single note, and very nicely done.
Yes.
Nicely done song.
Next track, Drug Me. Okay, helpful tip. If you are having difficulties with headphones, do not listen to punk music to see if they are fixed, because their voices are so muddled anyway, you can't tell the difference. This song reminds me of a piece of art from Tumblr that read, quote, "Some days I miss being a drug addict. At least then my life had purpose."
Yeah.
I like how this song makes the point that anything can be a drug, especially if you use it to escape the world. Although I think some examples are satirical, like crossword puzzles.
Hey,
I've never heard of that addiction before.
it's my personal addiction.
Okay, but if you use it to escape the world or just to feel something, anything, or even to numb, then it could be described as a drug. And this is the instance where the lead singer's voice really sells the song because he sounds like someone desperate for a hit and I can picture him shaking. Maybe one way we can help addicts is to create a better world where they won't want to use substances to escape or live a half-life. And then the song abruptly cuts out, suggesting that the hit worked, so he's at peace, or he sadly succumbed and is no longer with us. Based on how this album's been going, I'm going to settle on the latter.
Jello's lyric delivery has to be heard to be believed on this one. It's just like he's singing it like 100 miles an hour. It's just jaw-dropping.
Mm-hmm.
And I was following along the lyrics on AZ Lyrics, and like, oh my God, he's singing all these words. I mean, just the amount of words he crams into so short a time is just amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And the music is just as fast, complete with Count Floyd, scary organ.
Mm-hmm.
Jello's brain needs either stimulation or it needs to be deadened.
Maybe both.
One or the other. And in the middle of the song, he lists what he wants to be drugged with. And choices are natural vitamin C, speed, sleeping pills, crossword puzzles. Again, my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the New York Times Friday and Saturday puzzles.
High wool shorts.
And also the London Guardian crossword puzzles, which make the New York Times ones look ridiculously easy.
Wow.
And on and on and on. He lists them. We all have our habit of choice to escape reality sometimes, be it legal or illegal.
Yeah. Next track, Your Emotions. I think this song is really good at calling out the socializing factors in our lives that influence our ideas and beliefs when we're young, and how we really have to unpack a lot when we grow up. One statement I found interesting is that some therapists find that the way children are brought up have a lot to do with parents not being able to process their own trauma and taking it out on their kid. Or sometimes the parents don't see what happened to them as traumatic and just continue those parenting practices with their kids because they don't know any different. Just one of the reasons why a lot of kids turn out like their parents when they grow up.
And like I've always said, if there was a manual on how to raise kids, I'd be the first in line to buy it.
And whether it's our parents, a church, school, or the government, there is a part of you that wonders when you're all alone, am I my own person at all? Or is every single part of my personality something molded by other people and trauma responses? It's very sobering. So you do feel like Frankenstein's monster being pieced together by different people to make one body. But you have to learn that you're not a monster. And this is where I will say, if you are thinking any of these things, go to therapy and start unlearning the behaviors and thoughts that make you feel this way. Okay? Okay.
Yeah. Interesting one, this. It's about, like you said, it's about how you grow up, parents, teachers, the church tell you what to do and not to do. And as it says in the song, you've learned so many feelings, but what is there to that? Which are really yours? Or are you just a copycat? And I thought it was interesting when he says that, you're always a tape machine recording. It kind of never hit me that way before. But it's like, I think it happens to everyone. You're just absorbing all this stuff. And I guess a lot of us don't have the time to like sort through it and figure out what we need to keep and what we need to dump, or what we want to keep and dump.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, do we really feel anything sometimes, or are we just responding to certain things in a certain way because it's expected? Like, well, you're at a wedding, you're supposed to act this way. You're at a funeral, you're supposed to act this way. This is what society expects from you. And if you don't, does it mean you're psychopathic or something?
There's
or is
also-
it you're really your true self? And like I said, if you don't respond the way that you're expected. Is there something wrong with you, or are you like taking was it the red pill instead of the green pill?
A blue pill?
Thank you.
Well, there's also the phenomenon that's code switching, which they explained really well in Big Mouth because it's mostly associated with people of color, where it's like when you're around different groups, you kind of switch to different facets of your personality and amp some stuff up and tone some stuff down. Like, I remember when they explained it on Big Mouth, it was basically like, basically as a form of like armor. Basically, with the character he's saying, I don't want people to perceive me as a threat, so I do this. But it's actually common in pretty much everybody, where the different people that you're around and the settings are around, again, you amplify certain parts of your personality and you turn some parts of your personality down. It's just some people use that as survival, whereas other people, it just happens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, next track.
But no, I'm not finished.
Sorry.
I don't think your emotions make you a monster, but maybe just the false ones. But then there's also this thing of like, if everyone got rid of their false ones and behave the way that they really want to behave, would that lead to some sort of anarchy?
That's for the philosophers to decide.
And I am not one of those.
Yeah.
And this is all this in 80 seconds. And Jello's roar at the end is great.
Yep.
You have to hear it to believe it.
All right, next track. Chemical warfare.
Warfare.
Fun fact! Using chemical weapons repeatedly on a population in a widespread manner systematically over time is a crime against humanity, and it is definitely a war crime too. But I kind of like the story of this song where a guy hides in the trees of a country club and drops these chemical weapons on top of the elite rich who fund the government with money to deploy those weapons or to run the companies that make these weapons. A bit of, yeah, how do you like it?
It's a vicious circle.
Yep. To be clear, we are not advocating dropping chemical weapons on anyone. But the story is fun, and I love how they convey it with the music. First starting out with a stuffy waltz, then a pause before, until, and then chaos, with people screaming and coughing their lungs out. It's like if all those troublemakers you saw in 80s movies had some actual malice, and you watched the movie and went, holy shit, definitely their most fun and creative song.
Mm-hmm. Yep, Jello's hitting the arsenal where they keep the nerve gas, and he's set on using it. But just at the local golf course, though, so it's kind of sort of okay. I don't know. And the craziest thing to me is like when the band briefly turns the song into a waltz, which is hysterical.
It is. It's so
hilarious.
Funny.
Until the Rocky Mountain Arsenal Choir, that's what it says in the credit, kicks in with the coughing and the total panic. And believe it or not, it's another great sing-along.
Yeah.
And I will give that about the Dead Kennedys. I'll give them this. A lot of the songs are unpleasant subjects, but man, you just find yourself singing along.
Yeah. Next track, California Uber Alice.
Okay, This would be the first song to side 2.
Okay.
For those of you who are into vinyl.
So when I heard the name, I went, why is that familiar? So at first I was thinking of a different politician named Brown from California who was the mayor of San Francisco. Black guy, was in office around the 2000s. But then I remembered where I heard this name from. There was a bit that Gore Vidal did on The Tonight Show with Johnny Carson where he was asked to give political figures presents for Christmas if he was Santa Claus. So for Jerry Brown, Gore recommended the book, It's a Long Way from Here to Mount Rushmore. Look on the bright side, Mr. Brown. Better than whatever the hell William Buckley got if Gore would be forced to give his arch enemy anything. Well, we didn't get President Brown, but we got Reagan. And we all know how the hell that went. As for the song, my favorite moment is when we fast forward to 1984 and the Denim secret police have come for your uncool niece. Damn, what the hell did she do? And then I realized...
She was uncool.
No, I realized, oh yeah, she was born a woman. And then I thought soberingly, this is going to be Texas in a few years. Only a matter of time.
Yeah. Okay, yes, Jerry Brown was governor of California from 1975 to 1993.
And then he came back, didn't he?
From 2011 to 2019.
And now
ran for president 3 times. And he was also mayor of Oakland from 1999 to 2007. And California's attorney general from 2007 to 2011. And he was also famous for dating Linda Ronstadt.
Wow.
For a number of years, yeah.
Really?
Yep.
Huh.
This song nails his tree-hugging hippy-dippy side. But Brown was also a fiscal conservative who showed such fiscal restraint, it resulted in a budget surplus of $5 billion.
Shit.
Yeah, that's a billion with a B for California. And when he was elected governor, he didn't live in the mansion. He lived in an apartment for $275 a month, didn't take the limousine, either took public transportation or walked to work, and just tried to cut money, tried to eliminate wasteful spending. And having said that, this song is still a lot of fun. Brown envisions the United States as one big California. Let's think about that. I will command all of you, your kids will meditate in school, and you will jog for the master race. And always have a smile on your face. And it ends bolero style.
What?
Very unusual,
Okay.
but great song. Instant classic.
Next track, I Kill Children. My first note, this is like if the guy in M wanted to kill all those kids.
Yeah, I
Like
never
if-
thought of it that way before.
Like if he couldn't control it.
Because he does appear on the collage
M?
in the,
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Okay. Nothing redeeming about this song at all, but I have to say, it's told from the point of view of a murderer who isn't romanticized. That's
No, it's
something.
not. Yep.
He just sees it as hastening their desire to die. And then with the lyric, anyone can be king for a day, I think I figured out who Billy Joe Armstrong's biggest influence is. But to any children who may be listening to this on Halloween, which is probably none, don't worry, the dead Kennedys don't mean you. You're okay.
They like you.
They like you.
In pieces. Okay. Jello has said he wrote this song when he was 18 after thinking about how and why people become serial killers, and he considers it one of his weakest songs.
Really?
The opening line, God told me to skin you alive, comes from a Chick tract, which are religious tracts created by cartoonist Jack Chick, and they show up in the strangest places. I haven't seen one in years, but it's like you're in a store and you're reaching for an item and you see like this little 3x5 booklet and you pull it out and it's this black and white religious comic and you're like, holy crap. And I believe they are still being produced today. And they're very eye-opening. Musically, it's catchy. Lyrically, it's horrific. The way Jello sings the last word of this song has to be heard. It's like he's going to come out of the speakers and get started.
La la la, la la la, la la la, la la.
Yep.
All right, next track, Stealing People's Mail.
Oh,
All I can think of is All of the Other Reindeer. Hey, don't tamper with the mail. It's a federal offense. So it turns out the Porch Pirates now have an anthem. And again, they feel like what all the teen punks in film should have been, instead of the ones that don't actually do anything hardcore and you can tell they were written by adults. I wasn't expecting any fun songs on the album, but this one is fun and you can listen to it without feeling too terrible. Maybe also because you can't make out what he's saying, but hey, that's punk.
Chuck Berry should have gotten songwriting credit for this one because
Did they steal a riff or something?
basically it's his song Around and Around with different words and it's speeded up a little bit. But yeah, the whole way it's done with the, he sings and then the band plays and he sings and the band plays. It's just a speeded up version of Around and Around. Anyone out there, you can compare the two songs and judge for yourself.
Okay.
So anyway, Jello and the gang are cruising around stealing people's mail on a Friday night by the pale moon night. I have a problem with that beyond it being, a wrong thing to do and, it is a federal offense. And it's this. People have already picked up their mail. If you're going to steal it, you need to do it in the daytime, and good luck with that.
Or maybe-
because everyone's going to see you. And like you said, another thing, I thought of this was like you said, the modern day version of this is Porch Pirates.
Yeah.
But Porch Pirates, we have cameras set up,
Yeah.
and we are watching you.
We are
You
watching you.
sons of bitches. Plus, some of us are retired and are home all day long. So keep that in mind.
He'll beat you with his book of crossword puzzles. Those
I
things
will.
are thick.
I will. Oh, yes.
Next track, Funland at the Beach. I glanced too quickly and I thought it said funeral at the beach. But I'm like, oh, okay, Funland, okay. Nice opening guitar riff. Well, I think it's safe to say we know who sabotaged the roller coaster last night, considering they have a track about wanting to kill children. Makes me wonder if there was some sort of freak accident that inspired this song, because it feels like it could have been based off of that book that you read about that defunct amusement park.
Oh, Action Park?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay,
easily.
Okay, when I finish this, explain to the listeners what that book is. I guess there's always someone who enjoys the chaos of tragedy. They don't like causing it. They just like watching society lose its mind. Okay, tell everyone about the book.
Okay, hang on. But yeah, who sabotaged that roller coaster?
Me?
For me, it's like this song's okay. It kind of mines the same material as Chemical Warfare in that Jello's causing mayhem just to the particular place. Now, as for the book, Action Park, which I highly recommend, It was written by the park's creator's son, and he writes about growing up in Action Park, which was in New Jersey, and the philosophy of the safety of the park was kind of like Krusty the Clown's manufacturing motto: not just good, good enough. So yes, they did have accidents. A lot of times they didn't test the rides after they set them up. Some of the rides they actually made themselves. They come up with these wacky ideas and realize there's nothing out there like this. We'll make it ourselves.
Oh, God.
And then disaster awaited. People would get like skin burns from sliding down unsafe water slides. Yeah, there were roller coaster accidents, merry-go-round accidents, but you just have to read this book. I mean, I never even knew about this place until I read the book, and then I went online and saw like the reports of, in this evening's news, there was an accident at Action Park. Like, holy crap. I'm amazed that this place was open as long as it was.
How many lawsuits?
I can't remember, but, just check it out.
Gotta see for yourself.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Next track, Ill in the Head. Okay, hear me out. The Dead Kennedys have used a lot of comparisons in their songs that are very witty. But this is the first song of theirs that feels what I'm going to call conventionally deep. You know what I mean? How all songs trying to convey a message start to sound the same after a while. Yeah. Okay, I think what separates this is what the Dead Kennedys are able to do with their instruments, especially in that little bridge section.
Yeah.
So I think I figured it out. Set songs where nobody can understand the meaning behind the lyrics to punk music, and it'll somehow make sense. Presto changeo.
To me, this song is kind of meh. The band tries to play like they're out of tune, I guess, to keep that feeling of being ill in the head, but it doesn't work. They actually sound tuneful. And I've never skipped this song, so there's something about that keeps me listening every time. And when I got, I borrowed that CD, Dead Kennedys Live at the Death Club. They play this song, and before they do, Jello gives an introduction about how he wrote this song about the Nazi skinhead punk kids who were taking over hardcore, and this is how he feels about them, that they are, well, ill in the head. And I thought, okay, that kind of makes a little more sense. But even then, when you hear it play live and it sounds like they're playing it off tune, they're really not. They're really keeping it together.
All right, next track. Holiday in Cambodia. When I first read the title, I thought, uh-oh. The U.S. stopped bombing Cambodia in 1973, but fighting still went on until 1975 between the Khmer Rouge and Lol Nun, which is around the time that Pol Pot was prime minister. This song is my ultimate sadistic political fantasy. We take the people who are rich and claim to know suffering and then just airdrop them into a place where there is actual suffering. Because people on the right never care about issues until it happens to them. So maybe if we put them in the most extreme of circumstances and really put them through the ringer, they'll be shocked into thinking about the consequences of their own actions. And the Dead Kennedys seem to love this as much as I do, mocking them, saying the slums have got soul, and the music becomes more chaotic as people are trapped in this hellscape. May they never come out.
Whoa, wow. This was originally recorded and released as a single in May of 1980. It was re-recorded for the album and is a minute longer, mostly because of the introduction. The song contrasts the lifestyle of college students in the Western world with the genocidal dictatorship of the Khmer Rouge in Cambodia under Pol Pot. 1.5 to 2 million people were killed from 1975 to 1979. And Jello does not hold back. So you've been to school for a year or two and you think you know it, you've seen it all. It's time to taste what you most fear. And like you said, it's like, let's take these two things, mush them together, and see what happens. The music is nightmarish, but God help me, there's another sing-along chorus. And it's their best. I think with that and California Uber Alice, I think it's their best original song.
Okay.
Because the next song, I think, is their best cover.
Viva Las Vegas. I'm not a fan of the Elvis original, but let's see what the Dead Kennedys do. And for those of you wondering if it's the version that Bunny sings to in The Big Lebowski, nope, that's a different one. And this one seems to be coming from the POV of the addicted gambler, especially with the line change saying about they wouldn't sleep even if they were on speed. And sure, you'll remember that you had a swinging time, but maybe it really wasn't one. The performance is fine with the exception of a rough southern accent, but that's it. It doesn't really improve
Well,
upon...
I think he's trying to do his Elvis imitation.
Yeah, it doesn't really improve upon the original. It's just its own version. But to know why they chose this song in particular to cover would be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know why?
I may have a theory.
Okay.
So yeah, and what a way to end the album with an Elvis cover.
Okay.
And the thing is, like, other covers have been done by ZZ Top. They did a version for a movie. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was Honeymoon in Vegas. I don't know. Which it was kind of like too electronic, too mechanical, too phoned in.
Mm-hmm.
And Springsteen also did a cover, which wasn't bad.
Okay.
Because like he ends his with "Busted" at the end. But to me, this one is the best. It is better than Elvis's version. And on top of that, it's one of, if not the best cover of an Elvis song, period. Now, Elvis's version is from the movie of the same name, and it's...
Is it one of Elvis's movies?
Yeah. It's the stuff he was doing for his lousy movies when he should have been rocking.
Yeah.
But the Colonel had some sort of hold over him, and when he should have been, like, kicking ass and taking names, he was just stuck doing these crap movies.
Maybe I'll watch that movie with Jonathan Rhys Meyers as Elvis. He won the Golden Globe for that, and they got Cousin Eddie to play Colonel Parker.
Oh, yeah, I think I saw bits and pieces of that.
Yeah.
But anyway, all that stuff, that's another story.
Mm-hmm.
And anyway, Elvis's version comes across almost as like happy-go-lucky. If I wound up broke, then I'll always remember that I had a swinging time. Please. Yeah. But, the Dead Kennedys, Jello sings the same lines, but to me, it's all in the delivery. I think it's like their version exposes the rot underneath the glitter. Mm-hmm. Like you said, like this is sung from the point of view of a gambler who just is so out of control. But I also think they look at it as like you have to be insane to piss away your money like this. Mm-hmm. And if you do lose it all, too bad, pal. It's on you. It's your own damn fault. Mm-hmm. And I love how Jello changes some of the lines and it makes the song even better and truer. Like, even if I ran out of speed, boy, I wouldn't sleep a minute away. And my favorite, I'm going to give it everything I've got. Ladies, luck's with me. The dice stay hot. Got coke up my nose to dry away the snot. Viva Las Vegas. Oh,
Yay.
It's just great. Now, the thing was, this version was used in the movie Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas with Johnny Depp as gonzo journalist Hunter S. Thompson.
Haven't seen that. Is it any good?
I haven't seen the movie, but I saw the video that someone cobbled together with this song, and it was perfect. Because basically Hunter S. Thompson is drugged out on his mind through most of the movie. And the band plays it at a furious pace, and it's perfect. I just love this song, and I just love how it ends with that pleasant little guitar strum at the end, after all the chaos, after everything's calmed down.
Okay. Overall, my advice is to listen to the Dead Kennedys with caution. Listen to the first half when you're in the mood to rage against the world, but maybe not when you're feeling happy about life. The second half of the album is fine, especially if you don't have a sensitive stomach. I recognize that the album is good, but due to the topics of the song, I can only listen once in a while.
Overall, for me, Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables is a pioneering, seminal, hardcore punk classic. 14 songs in 33 minutes. I love this album. There are just some times where I'm going to try and be aware of what mood I'm in when I listen to it, but it's just like, I really need to listen to this. This is the only album by the Dead Kennedys you will ever need. Because I've listened to the other ones, and they're okay, but this one is just classic. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Highly recommended. One of my all-time favorite albums.
All right, and on that note, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. Like, comment, and subscribe, and all that jazz. If you follow me on social media, I post the episodes there. If you're friends with my dad, have him say what episode that you want, and he will email it directly to you. As always, thank you for listening to the latest installment of My Dad Listens to This. We'll be back next time with another album to nitpick and gripe about. Dad, anything you want to say before we sign off?
Happy Halloween, and don't kill anyone when you're out there.
Happy Halloween. Stay safe.